Sitting out on the most eastern edge of the United States is North Carolina's Outer Banks. With both north and south-facing beaches, Cape Hatteras picks up the strongest and most powerful surf the Atlantic Ocean can produce. Come, join in the Hatteras Surf Feast.
In the Outer Banks, a 6-foot ocean swell is 6 feet when it gets to the beach. So Hatteras is, really lucky. It's consistent. You've got a lot of variety in different breaks, and you've got, two different facing beaches. So when one's blown out, the other one can be offshore.
In the spring, surfers will find powerful winter surf still coming in, with air and water temperatures beginning to rise.
It's the happening spot. And that's a good thing, in Virginia Beach, I got my work there. That's why the reason I live there. I could live in the Outer Banks, but it's better for me to live in Virginia Beach and work, even though I've surfed Outer Banks a long time. I like surfing there, When it's going to be good in Virginia Beach, I know it's going to be better in the Outer Banks, so I go down there. More opportunities to surf by yourself, good waves, clean conditions. It's world class, Ask any of the pros, why does Wes Lane live on the East Coast? Because he can surf Hatteras, That guy on the world tour, he could live anywhere. It's got power, basically. Even if it's small, it's got power, which is basically what any surfer's looking for. You can get weak waves anywhere, but it's basically power what you're looking for.
Winter surfing conditions on the Outer Banks of North Carolina are intense. Big storms create big waves, and although warm weather is a common occurrence throughout the winter, surfers usually don't get both. Bill Thomas and I caught some surfers on top of the weather.
How about the waves? Let's hear about it.
They were wonderful today. Yeah, there's something else.
For the surfing conditions are excellent today. Good waves, overhead waves, tubes, just unreal.
What's it feel like to get up, on the wave? What's it like for you?
Oh, it's a nice adrenaline rush, especially like days like today when you can just pull right into the barrel and not have to do a thing, but just stand there and come right out. And it's really nice.
Some pretty long waves today as far as the ride, so.
Yeah, you can get a few to the beach, but the best ones are pretty much on the outside at the sandbar. Those are the best ones, the hardest breaking ones, and pretty much the guys that are out here are all competitive surfers, so we like to take them all to the beach, so that's really fun.
Getting to the waves is tough because no one knows when they're going to hit.
Well, always had an old car. I mean an old car that would only cost $600. I'd run it till it wouldn't work, and it'd finally burn up, and I'd get another one. Finally, after 5 or 6 of those, my last one caught on fire, and I decided to get a real car. This way I can get to Hatteras in half the time that it takes everybody else and get an extra 30 minutes of waves. Nothing like a fast car to go with fast waves.
Okay. All right, we're talking to a man in a hurry here. He wants to get out and catch the waves. How are the conditions today?
They are good. They're nice. Offshore winds and smooth conditions.
All right, we're coming up on a weekend, and I think it's going to be a first taste of spring for Outer Bankers as far as the weather's concerned. Are the waves pretty much the same condition?
I would say that, I mean, the waves, are they good? They're good. They're clean. They're unreal.
All right. You've been out today. What's it feel like to get up on a wave? What's it feel like to get in the tube or down in the barrel?
It's a thrilling experience, and you've got to try it. And the better you get, the more it means, isn't that what they say? Huh?
Have you just been suggesting in some quarters that this is not enough?
This swimsuit message brought to you by Wave Riding Vehicles.
WRV on the bypass in Kitty Hawk.
The second annual Blues Festival was held on Saturday, April 27th at Rodanthe on Hatteras Island. The Blues Festival consisted of fishing, crafts and exhibits, surfing, and some great blues music with the Rhythm Kings, Blues Exchange, the Defenders, and Chris Toolin. Proceeds from the Blues Festival went to the Volunteer Rescue 5, which serves Rodanthe, Waves, and Salvo. Wait! Did somebody say surfing?
For goodness sake, I got the hippie shakes. Yeah, I got the shakes. I got the hippie shakes. Woo!
The second annual Blues Festival was the site of the 17th Street Surf Shop Billabong Surfing Competition, which is the first leg of the Summer Surf Series. Representative Bill Cox explains why the Rodanthe site is so important.
Well, Rodanthe, because it's the first contest, always sets the tone for the rest of the series, and we had 200 contestants that signed up before we ever got to the beach, which that's the first time that's happened. Usually you get a lot of beach entries and so forth, but this contest, everybody was amped, ready to go, and it was just ended up being a fantastic weekend with the weather and the waves.
Cape Hatteras is the westernmost corner of the Bermuda Triangle and the easternmost coastline of the United States. Many surfers have disappeared, but some return from deep inside the Outer Banks barrel.
Well, the Outer Banks is fortunate enough to sit farther out into the ocean, closer to the continental shelf. Therefore, it gets a lot less resistance when the swells do come. Anywhere else on the East Coast, a 6-foot swell would get knocked down to, half its size by the time it reaches the beach.
Marvin Foster, glad to have you here on the Outer Banks of North Carolina. This is your first trip to the Outer Banks.
That's right. From what I've been hearing, I guess it reached #1 all the way, especially, hearing from Wes, that has always surfed on this side.
I've been surfing for, 14 years, since I was 7, so a fairly long time.
And how'd you get involved with the competition?
One of my friends' dad was a shaper. They took me down to the contest, got me surfing in a mini contest. After that, just went every week.
What's your favorite type of surfing, your best moves? I saw you getting some real nice off the tops, high speed, down the line.
Favorite ways? I just like to surf all the way there rather just get tubed all day, Just do no moves, just pull in, come out, kick out, get another one. Actually, this is better than what I got in California during the OP, so it's pretty fun. The weather's warm, the water's warm, people are nice, so I'm hanging out.
Hey, tell me about the crew. This is a hush puppy. Paul, what do you think about the cuisine here today?
He's on a diet, so he's eating hush puppies.
I'm on a diet. You heard me talk about slim bass. I'll stay on my diet. Too much food, get bad.
He's the one that makes Jenny Craig famous.
First time on the East Coast, so we went out and had a bit of fun. But the waves, it was okay. Had a couple of straight-handers and lefts and rights.
So you've surfed all over, what are some of the memorable waves you've caught lately?
J Bay for sure.
We had some really good waves there. It was funny because the Pro-Am guys, they went down to Cape Town and we hung at J-Bay and we got really good waves. It was about 6 to 8 feet and some filthy tubes.
Filthy, huh? Tell me about your hot wave of the day.
There was many of them. One tube, just it reminded me of back home at Kira. Just sitting in it for about 6 seconds, 7 seconds, coming out, jumping off, and then looking at the back, and then my friend getting another 6-second tube, and then up.
On this edition of Surf Check, let's take a look at a recent gathering at Wave Riding Vehicles.
Right now we're going to break it down and do a little surf song for y'all called Pipeline. And you guys are allowed to like do the surf thing that right here.
The Outer Banks is known for its high-quality surf. Christian Fletcher, well known for his high-tech surf moves, and his brother Nathan performed on a ramp in front of the shop. Tune in next time. Same beach swell, same beach channel. Welcome to the summer edition of Surf Check. 1990 has been a great year for surf. On July 3rd and 4th, the Quicksilver surf team, Generation X, visited our area. The likes of Sean Slater and Matt Keckley were seen tearing it up in local waters.
Like a fish out of water, headed for the shore. I grab the ball when the sun is up. I'm surfing the wave, I can't get enough. I'll surf the girl on the rest of the way. Surfing has become a way of life. Sometimes I feel like the ocean is my wife.
In other East Coast surf news, Robert Coughlin, president of the Surf Rider Foundation, visited our studios.
I've had a wonderful visit here to the East Coast. We had several big events up in the Tidewater area, organizing East Coast surfers here, like we've got them organized in California and getting them going in Hawaii and Australia as well. Surf Rider Foundation is an environmental organization of surfers that are trying to help do our share of saving the beaches and the oceans. We figure that nobody should care about that more than surfers, and we're all surfers that care about it.
Surfers, the movie, hit our area, and the level of stoke and anticipation for good waves is on the rise. Outer Banks surf can hang with some of the best conditions worldwide. Here's what some visiting pro surfers had to say.
Well, I started off in the NSSA on the West Coast and surfed in that for 4 or 5 seasons, and then of course I came to the U.S. Championships here at Hatteras. I think the beach breaks, Hatteras and places like that, are real similar to the beach breaks in California, so I don't think there's really much difference other than California has a few point breaks.
I really like it. You know, I've been all over the world, and I mean, our waves are just great. You know, we have all kinds of different conditions all the time, you know, and Outer Banks is my favorite spot, really. You know, I mean, every time I come up here, it just seems to turn into magic for me, you know.
Of North Carolina, long a graveyard for ships which strayed upon its shifting sandbars during violent storms, is the home of arguably the best surf on the East Coast. Cape Hatteras bends out into the ocean like an elbow, opening the north coast to the brunt of the northeastern swells. But the south side can come alive on a huge north or when the winds are hard on shore. The East Coast domain, from New England down into the Caribbean, may be widely underrated, for on the right swell, hundreds of spots will turn on. But for consistency and quality, it's the Outer Banks.
I favor the East Coast more than California just because there's no pollution. And, you know, I've always been real fond of the Outer Banks, and I always enjoy coming back up, kind of almost consider it home.
We always try to stop by the Outer Banks and surf for a while ourselves because it's a nice break, because it is the best surf on the East Coast. The Outer Banks is the most consistent and the most accessible and the warmest. That's important to me. That's really important.
Anywhere else on the East Coast, a 6-foot swell would get knocked down to, you know, half its size by the time it reaches the beach. Here in the Outer Banks, a 6-foot ocean swell is 6 feet when it gets to the beach. So Hatteras is, you know, really lucky. It's consistent. You've got a lot of variety in different breaks, and you've got, you know, two different facing beaches. So when one's blown out, the other one can be offshore.
These are not isolated opinions. Californians have likened it to a cross between Newport River jetties and Hollywood by the Sea. And more than a few Hawaiians have called Hatteras the only real wave on the East Coast, which is saying a lot. To the north of the Hatteras Lighthouse is Pea Island National Wildlife Preserve, where beach break peaks produce some of the most lively surf sessions on the Outer Banks. Florida's Todd Holland and Virginia's Wes Lane make a regular pilgrimage to Hatteras, dancing in the graveyard of lost ships and ripping apart anything that moves. While Hatteras frequently has the juice, other areas within the realm of the East Coast surfer have been picking up in recent years. What has been called a 20-year surf drought may be finally coming to an end, as Atlantic hurricane force and frequency continue to increase. And the locals, including past, present, and future top pros, and a host of rising stars, have already begun to reap the harvest.
Outer Banks visitors and locals alike all get fine-tuned during hurricane season, and everyone gets ready for the beginning of the big winter swells. Mention the word hurricane and you will receive a variety of responses. Few people look forward to the danger and power of these tropical storms. Mention the word hurricane to a hardcore surfer, however, and he or she will know that big surf is on the way.
Hurricanes tend to give us a very short swell in duration, and they tend to come quick, get real big, and then die very quickly. It's the time of season that everyone looks forward to, but
this season, a recent hurricane, Hurricane Bertha, started pushing waves in front of her long before she neared the North Carolina coastline. Knowledgeable surfers knew that south of Diamond Shoals, the waves were beginning to rise.
There's a storm brewing. I think it's time to pack my bags and go. Time to find something new in. Take this old blue show on the road. Down here in the 6th month of the season, whether you can go insane. Come November, it's a
Hurricane Bertha was never a threat to the eastern coastline of the United States. In fact, several days into the swell, she downgraded to a tropical storm.
like a tumbleweed. Lost the roof off my house yesterday. Somebody help me, please. Got them hurricane blues, but in the middle next week. Got them hurricane blues. Things are looking kind of bleak. Hurricane. Oh, hurricane.
The waves remain clean and consistent, and on the most epic day of the swell, Tropical Storm Bertha re-intensified into a hurricane. It was a surfer's dream. The hurricane was far enough out to sea to pose no threat to the coastline, yet close enough to push in great surf. The waves got bigger and bigger all day long.
Just wait for that old hurricane. Love and blues away like a tumbleweed. Lost the roof yesterday. Somebody help me, please. Got them hurricane blues, but in the middle next week. Got them hurricane blues. Things are looking kind of bleak. Hurricane. when the hurricane blows. Everybody they run for cover, as most all the locals know. Hurricane ain't your friend or your lover. The ocean should rise and stuff and starts to crashing. Those beach streams just ain't never the same. The wind starts a blowing and a splashing. Caught up in that old hurricane. Love my blues away like a tumbleweed. Lost my room yesterday, somebody help me please. Got them hurricane blues, baby, they ain't sweet. Got them hurricane blues, things are looking kind of bleak. Hurricane blues. Hurricane blues.
The longest running and currently largest East Coast professional surfing competition is undoubtedly the East Coast Surfing Championships, held each year in Virginia Beach. Unfortunately, the summer season is not the best time of the year for big surf in Virginia Beach. This may be hurricane season, but without a tropical storm, the only hope for surf is a low-pressure weather system.
This past week, we had a low-pressure system that gave us the swell we had, and actually, those are the best ones to look for. They hang around a little longer. You get a swell for, more than a day or more than 6 hours. And it might not be quite as big as a hurricane swell, but it lasts a lot longer, and guys have a lot more fun because they get to spend more time in the water.
This is a classic summer swell, and although it didn't last for the East Coast Surfing Championships in Virginia Beach, it did provide great surfing conditions here on the Outer Banks. The Deep Atlantic Hurricane has become a media event. With the advent of the electronic media, everyone can now speculate when and where the storm will go.
What's the forecast track of the storm that is slowing down the decision process?
Well, the storm has dipped a little bit. It will go south, southwest, and then it's come back up. And it was moving at 26 miles an hour. It went to 21 and back to 23. So with the storm conditions moving.
She made me feel so good to get her to town.
Surfers look forward to the powerful surf created by tropical storms and hurricanes. But until a storm makes landfall or turns up the eastern coastline, no one knows when or where the storm will peak.
Push to the ready. Well, it's two-way, take it all the way. You know she's good for my head.
Many different spots will work during a swell, but the best spot is where the swell is coming in strongest with the best wind direction available. Hurricane Lily was so small that the swell did not even show up until the storm was less than 300 miles away. The prevailing southeast wind wouldn't clean up the incoming surf. Storm's path was uncertain, and until it changed its direction to a more northern path, the winds didn't change. During the strongest day of the swell, knowledgeable surfers took advantage of the Frisco effect and caught clean waves on the more southern-facing beaches.
Get your dancing shoes on, baby. Right now I'm thinking about a woman. She made me feel so good, special, special. She likes to hide, and I feel the same. So like a train going off the whistle.
During the evening of Hurricane Lily's passage, the waves cleaned up first at the Cape Hatteras lighthouse. The following days provided great conditions at every spot from the lighthouse north to Maine, where the storm ended its long journey.
She lies to hide, and I feel the same. So like a train going off a whistle. And as full steam ahead, push to the ready. Well, it's two-way, take it on the one-way track, and you know she's good for my head. Yes, and full steam ahead, push to the ready. Well, it's two-way, take it on the one-way track, and you know she's good for my head. Right now I'm thinking about a woman. Woo. She made me feel so good, special, special. She likes to hide, and I feel the same. So like a train going off the whistle. And as full steam ahead, push to the bed. Well, it's two-way, take it on the one-way track, and you know she's good for my head. As full steam ahead, push to the bed. Well, it's two-way, take it on the one-way track, and you know she's good for my head. Oh, yeah.
3, 2, 1.
The ESA's East Coast Surfing Championships are held each year at Cape Hatteras, North Carolina.
What we're in right now is double elimination. It's a 15-minute heat. They're taking the best three waves. The best three waves are what's counting. We have a rider taking off out by the groin, off the top, back down. That was a good transition. Discontinues his ride. That was kind of a medium scoring ride. Our judges are scoring on a criteria of 1 to 20. 20 being an excellent wave. And in these conditions, we have had a few 20s last day or two. So there have been some excellent rides. Waves were a little bigger yesterday. Now Blue is taking it all the way from the outside. He's going to do as much maneuvers as he can right now. And he finishes his ride. And that was a good to almost an excellent ride. You know, there was nothing wrong with that in this type of competition we're having right now.
The Eastern Surfing Association is made up of individual districts all across the East Coast.
In New England, we have probably 4 to 6 in each district, and the other districts where the water is warmer all year long have more. And each district, when it finishes with the competition season, sends their top people to the regional. We have regional in Florida, one in the Mid-Atlantic area, such as North Carolina, and one in the New England or New Jersey area. And the top competitors from there then come down to North Carolina to surf in the grand finals.
We've grown from basically a small organization up in the Northeast into the entire East Coast, including a district in Alabama and a few surfers over in Louisiana that surf under our banners, and also a district out in the Great Lakes. Although competition seems to be our main goal, it's just kind of an organizing point to get all the surfers together.
Traditionally, the Outer Banks delivers great surf. This year was no exception. During the Mini-Hune Division's heats, the first jetty produced some of the cleanest lighthouse waves seen in recent memory.
And what particular category are you competing in?
The Mini-Hunes division.
Oh, tell me about that. I hear that's a really fun division.
Well, there's a lot of real good competitors that are going to be real good in the future, and it's one of the harder divisions for the other kids are the same age, so it's fun.
The many competitors enjoyed surfing here on Hatteras Island.
Yeah, it's got power basically. Even if it's small, it's got power, which is basically what any surfer's looking for. You can get weak waves anywhere, but it's basically power what you're looking for, and this has as much power as most of the places I've been. I've been to Escondido. It compares to a good, you know, like on a small day in Escondido, that's what Hatteras is like, you know, good quality beach break that'll knock your socks off if you're not careful. Put a little sand in your brain, too. But, you know, I've traveled Australia, Mexico, Fiji, and up and down the East Coast, all through the Caribbean, and as far as I'm concerned, this is as good. You know, when it's on here, it's as good as anywhere. It's a world-class wave. You don't find much better beach break than this, except maybe some places in Mexico.
I mean, if you had the best wave, you could ride for a long distance, and that right there was points. Otherwise, you had to, deal with a small wave and just try to do as much as you could, and which isn't as good as having a big long wave on down the beach.
During your heat, I saw you getting in some good moves and some long rides. How are those important for scoring high in a contest?
It's the most important thing. Around here on the East Coast, they judge mostly by length. If you get a long wave, then the judges score you more on that than they would, say, if you dropped it and did it really right off the top and it fell.
I think the ESA and other surfing organizations are real good for kids coming up today to teach them discipline, to find acceptance, and other characteristics that'll aid them in getting through life.
This year's competition concluded, as usual, with an awards assembly held in the shadow of the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse.
Okay, that is it for the 1990 Eastern Surfing Association Championships. We appreciate your attendance and see you at the regionals, whichever one you may be at next year. And then back here at Hatteras.
It's fall 1989. A large hurricane located in the deep Atlantic produced an epic Outer Banks swell. Local surfers mobilized for several days of intense conditions. Riding these waves well is the result of careful preparation and total commitment to surfing. This Outer Banks surfing moment is brought to you by Sun Surfboards.
When the moon becomes full and the surf begins to rise, where you'll find these surfers is no surprise. What began in ancient times is still carried forwards by this secret cult of wave worshippers. Called Moondogs in Greek mythology, nicknamed Moondoggy by early explorers. Today's incarnation can be found late at night in the tube when the moon is full. These waves are for the hardcore. Some surfers travel, others hibernate. You'll find few strangers in the water, but with the right equipment, local surfers feast on an abundant supply of juicy waves.
Up to 14 inches of snow fell on the Outer Banks with the arrival of a nor'easter that produced blizzard-like winds and damaged several waterfront homes.
A lot of folks think in terms of hurricanes being the disastrous storms along the Outer Banks of North Carolina, but if we look back in the past couple of decades, we've suffered much more from winter storms like the Christmas Eve storm that we had this year. There was some severe erosion, in particular in the Kitty Hawk area, the Nags Head area, the Oregon Inlet area, but also along the beaches, and this has been the norm during the recent years in the winter storms.
A strong winter storm system off of the Outer Banks coastline provided plenty of surf for local surfers. But just how big are these waves?
It's triple overhead, double overhead, and maybe over your head. Who can tell? These are the latest things. They even sent me home from work. Said, go surfing. I think I will.
Paddling out's kind of hard, but rides are real fun, decent.
Waves are about 4 to 6 feet, perfect conditions, 12-mile-an-hour offshore wind, super glassy, milky conditions.
We got a strong north swell. The winds are maybe a little south of basically their west winds, and as you can see, you know, they're peeling off perfect. There's some tubes and long rides. It's just a little chilly.
Local surfers turned out in abundance recently to protest to Kill Devil Hill's proposal to limit surfing at 10 locations in the town's limits.
Everyone down here has a much better attitude. They also feel like that they can come to this beach anywhere on the Outer Banks and enjoy what they want to. I know everyone else has gone through this, but just as personal testimony, it's just a real good thing because people come to the Outer Banks because they have that freedom.
It seems that with the popularity of surfing, the beaches have been getting crowded. Town officials are concerned about a potential safety hazard.
Our visitors who come here just to swim have to be put on notice that they should also be more aware of what is going on around them when they are in the water.
None of us go in the water and ocean without some possibility of injury. Whether we're walking along and step in a hole, or we step on a piece of glass or something that's washed in on the beach, or whether we're struck by our own surfboard, someone else's surfboard, or hit in the head with some type of fishing lure.
The potential dangers of crowded surfing conditions must be recognized and dealt with. Safety is important for everyone whom uses the ocean for recreation.
A couple of shops in town, Jim Vaughn of Wellbone Surf Shop and myself, have basically agreed to see eye to eye on one thing, and that is helping the town with their enforcement problem by regulating our own people, by public awareness, by handbills, anything we can possibly do to act as a liaison between surfers and the town of Kill Devil Hill.
I think this is a matter that probably should be tabled for further study, and if we are to proceed any further, I think we should, I should, or this board should, appoint a committee, as suggested by the planning board, of civilians and other personnel as a committee to study this thing in depth.
The ordinance was tabled by town officials who believe that those individuals protesting are willing to work together to help maintain and practice safety on the beaches.
With consistent quality surf and an ever-growing Eastern Surfing Association, the Outer Banks is producing some world-class surfers.
I've been able to make my surfing more powerful all the time and trying more tricks. What would be going through my mind was how long I'm going to slide, if I'm going to make it, you know, if I'm going to end up doing something new, different.
Many big-time world pros have their roots here on the Outer Banks.
I've spent some time up here surfing, and you know, this place provides, I think from what I've surfed, it's the best place in the whole East Coast. So, you know, it really provides a variety of surf, like you said, from head high to, or just good clean surf to big storm surf, and you know, I like just about all of it.
There are many hardcore local surfers on the Outer Banks, people who truly live the Outer Banks lifestyle. Surfers like Billy Diggs, Stuart Taylor, Tom Rogers, Barry Price, Scooter Rayner, Steve Hess, Kevin McCabe. These guys are just a few of the many hardcores.
Oh no. It's just a nice place. You got a lot of freedom. You can basically do what you want. And having the dad that I have, it was, you know, I was able to get to the beach whenever I wanted, and that's basically, you know, what I like about this place is I didn't have to worry about, you know, other people. You know, I could just do what I wanted to, and that's how it started off.
Yeah, a lot of people down here surf on Outer Banks, and it's really fun being able to surf with everybody and all, but the localism fact, in some cases, isn't even necessary because really 98% of the people down here haven't lived down here all their life, so they should respect the people that do.
I've basically lived here all my life, and growing up on the Outer Banks has a lot of influence on the ocean, and that's basically where I think all my surfing started. That with the help of my dad. Other than that, I mean, if I don't think if I lived near the ocean, I probably wouldn't be surfing today. So I feel lucky that I've been living here on the Outer Banks.
The Surfrider Foundation now has an Outer Banks chapter. Founder Brant Wise explains what's going on.
The Surfrider Foundation is for education, research, and conservation of our natural resources. We are for responsible development, and we're not just a self-oriented or self-interest group. We are more for the beachgoers in general, the people who just want to go walking down the beach, picking up seashells, the fishermen, sailboarders, sailors, just the general public surfing. I guess we take a special interest towards this with our oceans, but it's broader than that. It's something that we really love and care for.
The chemicals and they blow the waste away. Down the pipes and through the ground they go each and every day.